want to start by showing respect and acknowledging the Gadigal people whose ground we gather on here today. I'm very excited about talking to this man next to me. What a life. He's an MC, a comedian, an activist, a writer, an actor, who's now being courted by some of the biggest names in American TV. And how he did that in just 31 short years is an amazing story. So please give it up for Briggs. Tell me about your early life in Shepparton, because regional Victoria, can be shitty, can be pretty.
It's a classic rural city. It's like not small enough to be a country town, not big enough to be a city. And if you leave and come back and, it's that, you think you're good approach at the local bar. It's such a weird kind of town as well, because it's like not only am I from there, dudes from Augie March are from there too, and Ella Hooper and Jamie from Killing Heidi are just 15 minutes away down the road. So there's this weird elixir in the water or something that drives people to no end to succeed to get out of there.
When did you know you could write songs though?
We would do it for a laugh. Like we would make dumb songs about our mates, like punk rock songs, and I always wanted to make rap music, but not being afforded the knowledge, like I had no idea how those sounds are made. I had no idea about synths or.
It wasn't big. Hip hop wasn't big in Shepparton, really.
It was big, like everyone loved it, but no one was making it. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest difference. Like there was fans of it, fans of rap music, but nobody was making it. Like even now, like my whole approach to all this was, get my foot in at the factory, and I'll work. At least I'm in the right place. I'll work in the mailroom, and then I'll go up. And that was always my approach. It's like, all right, I'll start down there because at least I'm hanging around the right people and in the right place. So I wanted to make rap music. I didn't really know how, so I just played guitar until I could figure it out.
There's a great reoccurring theme in your story, and we'll talk about more as you go along, but it's the work ethic that you have. You're fanatical. You just keep going through thick and thin. Where does the work ethic come from?
Terror. If I stop, I'll die. Because if you're on a roll, you don't want to stop. If you're just working on something, you know what I mean? You don't want to stop.
Well, a lot of people ask for songwriting tips, and that is the greatest one, isn't it? Just do what you've got to do. Do it for the love. Do it to get it done.
Like people always ask me what the tips are and, songwriting. It's like, just do it.
You work. Hard work.
Just
work
do
ethic
it.
Is one of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I think, like, for me, what works for me is just being, like, super, active and, repetition is what, helped me write songs and listening to other people's music and trying to make your own stuff better by comparison.
Do you remember the first song you wrote? Actually, not the first song you wrote, the first song you got right, where you went, shit, I can do this.
I feel like Bad Apples, when I wrote that was the first song I wrote that really was a song I was proud of. Like, I like the other songs, they're cool, and I dig them, but Bad Apples was the song where I was like, nah, that's a song I'll be proud to put on a pedestal. Artistically, it was me doing my version of By the Time I Get to Arizona by Public Enemy. Yeah. And I just drew on my experiences growing up. Like, as a kid, like, what would be the soundtrack to my youth? And I just thought about all those dusty tracks on our BMXs and, all the scallywag behaviours my cousins and friends were up to, and not me. And the idea of, like, so many people willing to point the finger at the kids and say, oh, they're bad kids, where I didn't believe that. What I mean? I was like, nah, you failed them. You all failed them as a whole community.
From the parents.
These kids are just a reflection of you and your failures to nurture them. And that's what that song was all about. It's like it's an ironic title. The bad apples are really the parents and the community.
Where does it start? Do you gather beats? You get people send you beats and...
When I did the AB original record, that was a completely different approach to what I'd normally do. When I wrote that, it was in the studio, write that, then there, record it, done. I'm not changing it. That's how it is. My ideas are sporadic. Sometimes I'll get a song title. Sometimes I'll just get one line.
How obligated, and maybe that's not the right word, but to your heritage do you feel with your music? Because you are a spokesman.
When I was a young kid, I wasn't much of a leader, so you didn't want me there in the first place, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But as I've gotten older and thought about it more, a bit more considered with my music and my approach. When I first come out, I didn't come out and say, I'm a leader now, and, puff my chest out and, give me all your adoration, please. I was really adverse to that because I didn't see myself as a leader as such, because I wasn't doing leader activities, you know what I mean?
But now you go, I've watched you on Vice go into like a documentary, you go into youth detention centres and helping. So you're a role model.
Because as my platform's growing, everything around me has gotten so much bigger and so much, it's so much more than me. Mm. I'm not going to say I'm not going to mess up because I'm me. I'm still Adam Briggs from Shepparton, you know what I mean? So things can happen. But the reality is I'm very much aware about how many there are of me. You know what I mean?
You mean Indigenous Australians, or you mean MCs?
MCs, Indigenous MCs in my position. You know what I mean? Who can come out and call the Prime Minister a coward, and then also take shots at the opposition leader on a weekly news satire show, you know what I mean? So I'm very much aware about my reach and, using my powers for good.
Bill Shorten called you.
Yeah, he rang me up after I ripped him on the show.
That's a weird call.
Yeah, he's like, hey, Adam, how'd you get my number? I knew exactly how he got it. My manager gave it to him. I said it was okay to call.
Yeah.
But yeah, he rang me up. He's like swearing, yeah, that's fucking funny, mate. Yeah. Because he's a man of the people.
You're a PDA winner, which is the Personal Development Award for APRA.
That year was a big year for me in my career because things were kind of teetering on going really well. And that's what I was just pushing for. And there was all these things like that were kind of like signals to, you're hitting the right notes, you're doing the right stuff. And anything to help you pay the rent as well. As a musician, who lives off sporadic income, you know what I mean, which is part of the reason you work so relentlessly, is, phenomenal. And being able to, buy equipment and take trips and, to work and create stuff. I just took that money and just shoveled it into the fires that make stuff in my house. You know what I mean? The creative.
And there are many fires now, aren't there? Yeah. There's so much to your career now because you are an actor. You're working with Charlie Pickering. You're doing so many different things. But tell me about your new mate, Matt Groening, who, the developer of The Simpsons. You're working on a new show for him. Yeah,
Disenchantment. That all come about through Twitter. I'm a massive Simpsons nerd and Futurama. So I started following him on Twitter, and then he followed me back, and he checked out my music and stuff. And then I started talking to him, and I was like, is this Josh Weinstein, the actual one? And he's like, yes. I'm like, bullshit. And he's like, I just started asking him all throwing all these Simpsons questions at him, blah, 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 just hitting him with all this trivia. He was just hitting me back, with all the right answers. And I was like, wow, send me a box of stuff. And he sent me a box, with a script and a patch from this NASA mission that went to, space where they keep all the other stuff. And I was like, wow, it must be really him, maybe. And then,
I just love you made him jump through all these hoops.
yeah. Well, I was just waiting for all my mates to be like, ha-ha!
Yeah.
You know, I'm still waiting for them to pull the curtain back and, like, rip off the latex mask and be like, whoa, we had you going for about 5 years. No, and then the next time I went to Los Angeles, we met up and had coffee and were hanging out. And he said, like, that Matt and him are working on a new show, and I got an episode for you. And I went over to the room, and we just went to work. Like, he was just sitting around a table with, like, you know, there's Matt Groening, Josh Weinstein, Bill Oakley, David X. Cohen, who created Futurama with. It's like being surrounded by, you know, just super geniuses.
It must be wild. Like, you know,
It's nuts. You can't think about it. If you start thinking about it, you'll fuck it all up. Just don't think about it.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm there to work. Like, hey, Matt. You know?
Yeah. But part of you is waiting for it to go to air so you can walk around Shepherd and go,
yeah, that's right. Remember me?
You've got your own kind of record company. You are a writer. You are an activist. You're an actor. You're all these things. Are you worried about trying to serve too many masters?
Nah, because I run my show. Everything I do is mine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm an activist because that's the way I feel.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't like something, I say, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the way I feel.
Yeah, but if you're trying to write scripts and make albums, have you got to just put one on hold? Like, how do you jump between all that? And how can you do it effectively?
I still do it for the right reasons. I still do it for fun. If I'm writing an album and then this week I don't feel like writing the album, I'll stop and I'll go do something else. And then I'll come back and I'll work on it again. It's like I'm not in any rush. It's like I've got enough going on to not have to rush on one thing. Like I just work at my own pace. You know what I mean? I work hard. You know, if I need to stop and step away, I will.
You sound like you don't say no very often.
No, I do.
Yeah?
All the time. I love saying no. It's one of my favourite. Telling people no, it really does it for me.
Is there a bigger goal? Is there something beyond? You've already gone further than you could have ever imagined. You couldn't even find someone to...
There's always something.
You couldn't get encouraged in music when you were young.
If you would have asked me when I was a kid, you're going to, you know, if I was 16, 17, just started rapping, they said to me, you're going to tour with Ice Cube one day. When you're a kid, you'd be like, sick, and then I can stop.
Yeah.
But after, you know, when I toured with Cube, I was like, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed the process of making something. The end product, I don't really care too much about. Like, there it is. All right, next thing.
Let's move on to January 26th. It's an all-star cast. This is like the ultimate Indigenous all-star cast. Well, just forget Indigenous. This is all-star cast across all. Do you want to explain who's on this track? Because it's amazing.
Yeah, Trials, Dan Sultan, myself.
This groove, you must have heard this and just exploded because
that's Trials.
You could fart on this track and it would be a hit.
Yeah,
you could because it's that. When you hear the groove, you go, "He did." Yeah, that's why it's so good.
We did. It was organic. You know what I mean? It needed it. We just do what the song asks of us.
Yeah, but when you heard the groove, it must have been like, okay, but this is an amazing building block.
Yeah, because it was like we're going to deliver, you know, a lot of harsh realities and a lot of real messages, but we also have to deliver good songs. We've all heard the political message on a trash song. It's like, yeah, your message is good, but your song sucks. And that's why, like, we wanted to make songs that were just, you know, undeniable.
This is a party song.
It's an undeniable banger, that song.
Yeah, there's so much to discuss with that. Part of it is just the education kids receive about what the history of this country is. I learnt more about Egyptian history than I did about Indigenous history at school, and it's getting better, but I know that you
That's because you don't have to acknowledge massacres in your own backyard when you research pyramids.
Well, this is the thing. It's bringing to light, hopefully, a lot of things. I mean, I'm happy to change the date tomorrow because I think the fact that we do celebrate on a day that's linked to massacres. It's not even the day that Cook landed. Do you think there should be a day to celebrate Australia, though?
I wouldn't celebrate because I don't feel like I got much to celebrate. But someone else might, and that's cool. But that day,
To pick that day.
that's like, are you dumb? Just pick another day.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. No, that's all you got to do.
there's so
and it
many
makes
of
sense.
them.
Well, these days I think of Cronulla. I think of there's so many other aspects.
There's so much like that. There's so much false nationalism.
Nationalism is the word.
Yeah, and racism that's guised as patriotism, all wrapped up
Yeah.
in that one day, and the unwillingness to shift it, says a whole lot about where everyone's at.
Do you think hip hop's the last bastion of freedom of speech?
Like, if I can't speak my mind on what I'm doing, like, what's the point? Like, that's why I love comedy, because I can talk. So
well, that's the other place of freedom.
It's so much more freedom.
Yeah.
In comedy, you know what I mean. I'm not adhered to rhyming schemes and bars and stuff like that, which is part of the beauty and the art of rap. But with comedy, it's more free. On Chef Life, I talk about, dealing with racist fans, even like just the racist punter, and especially around hip hop, because it wasn't viewed as rap music or hip hop. It was Aussie hip hop, so it was its own bastion of the last white hope of hip hop. It's like, no, this is ours and it's pure. There can be only one.
Have you always sung with your Australian accent? I know, because there was nothing probably around.
No,
when you were a kid starting out, there would have been Aussie hip hop.
When I very first started, like, all you do is mimic.
Yeah.
It's like what you know. I couldn't hold the accent. I was like, this is dumb. But like, as you go through and develop your own style, your voice becomes part of that. You know what I mean? Like, there's all the accent debates, and it's just corny and dumb. But like, my whole thing was just like, this is what I sound like, so I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna just go.
It's a big decision to make, and obviously a wise one. I always think about the guy from Cypress Hill. When he put on that accent. These pigs want to blow my house down. He's stuck with that.
Yeah. The joke voice, Be Real's joke voice.
Yeah, his joke voice is like. Great voice, but that's it.
It's sick, because that's all we know, right?
Yeah.
And now he's stuck with. I drank from when I was like 16 or something. I was about 25 when I quit, so I'd been drinking for almost 10 years or something. And I was just like, I felt like that's enough. I was done. I was like, nah. And I went to New York, and I'd seen the difference in the drinking culture, whereas like it wasn't, it was frowned upon to be like super smashed. And that was something that kind of stuck with me, and I was just bored with it. I didn't feel like I could afford to waste a day. Yeah. And I was wasting too many days drinking and then trying to recover from drinking. And like, I felt like I'd been drunk for 10 years or something, you know what I mean? Because it was such a blur. And I needed the focus to create.
It's a creative trap to get caught in, isn't it? Is that you think you need the booze to come up with the idea. Yeah. But
and to enjoy the show. Like, these first shows sober, they were weird.
Yeah.
But
all those people afterwards are very annoying.
Oh, whew. Just in your ear, just sweating on you, breathing. Just,
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.